all, it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you, AnimationXpress, for organizing this. This is one of our precedent moments where we are launching our cloud render farm, a global sovereign render farm, along with other products, which is our MAM, Media Asset Management Solution, our OVP products, and our OTT products. So a brief introduction about YOTA, first of all. Can we have the PPT on? So YOTA is an enterprise tier 4 ISO certified data center who is getting into the foray of media taking media very, very seriously. We are obviously a data center which is contributing to BFSI, manufacturing, and every industry around the globe. But the media industry is something which we are taking it very, very seriously, which we're going to now get some enterprise cloud products for the production. So YOTA is a cloud service provider, MSP, ISP, and a DSCP. We cater to hyperscalers, at the same time, all kinds of consumers. And we have a huge relationship with NVIDIA, as you all know. So we get to know all of higher compute, how we incorporate within our cloud products. So this is some of our logos of all our products, right from Shakti Cloud, right to Urja, which is our render farm. Sudarshan is something. So Urja and Sudarshan are the two new logos which we are adding. And this is going to be our enterprise render farm and our media asset management solutions. So leading up to that, I would like to introduce Anandya Podar, who is leading the media asset management solution Sudarshan product for YOTA. So it's pretty exciting to have this panel together, especially from people from all walks of life, especially ranging from OTT MAM, Mr. Naveen Chandra, Shajy Thomas, who has been in the industry. Many of you guys know Shajy very well, and Rajeev and Tony. Mehul is joining us very soon. So basically, we are talking about content creation via using content creation products like OTT and MAM and Renderfarms 2.0. First of all, I would like to ask Rajeev, there's a lot of myth of AI has come, AI आ गया तो अभी render farm की ज़रूरत ही नहीं है. So what do you think about it, and how's, for example, if an AI, a book is given, can a film be made out of that book?
I think it's a complete myth, yes. With AI coming in, it is not that you don't need the render farms in the original content production. While content is still something that people enjoy, and it needs a lot of bandwidth, it needs a lot of quality work, AI is still, people think that it's a very automated process right now. You prompt it and you get it. It's not that you will get the heavy content production with just the AI. So a lot of human intervention, a lot of human interaction is required to still make a good film. And that's where you definitely need a render farms. There's absolutely a myth about it. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think the word is hybrid. It's always hybrid of cloud versus on-prem. It's always hybrid of Unreal versus traditional pipelines, right?
So technology has always blended the workflow. It has never, you cannot exclude one thing and then include another thing. So it is a blend of everything. When VFX was evolving, there was Unreal that came in. Then Unreal got integrated with VFX. Similarly is AI. AI is becoming a tool for VFX to enhance the quality work. Similarly is for animation. So everything is complementing each other rather than you excluding it one or the other.
Absolutely.
The way I look at AI is very, very different. AI is a tool at the end of the day. Finally, what matters is story. Right?
Absolutely.
If the story is not there, it doesn't matter whether you use AI, whether you use animation, whether you use VFX. The fundamental premise of any storytelling is story.
Right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And that is why I think AI will become a more powerful tool to tell better, bigger stories than what we've been able to tell earlier.
Exactly, exactly. So my next question, I would like to get in Tony.
Mr. Mehul is there, so
Mehul is here.
we
Please
have to give
welcome
him a
Mehul.
shout out.
Sorry for the. No worries.
So he's
Mumbai
the director.
traffic.
I'm just giving the intro. I'm sorry, I'm stopping
Sure,
in
sure,
between. He's the director, Studio We Sing, with a unique blend of art, technology, and management skills over 30 years in animation and VFX. Mehul co-leads Studio We Sing, a Mumbai-based studio delivering CG animation, game cinematics, VFX, and theme content for global clients. A big round of applause for Mehul, who has joined us right now. Thank you.
So moving on, I'm seeing a lot of students and a lot of animators over here also. So my next question is leading up to Tony. There are a lot of talent out there who want to create a lot of pitches, they want to create production, but they have some lack of funding as a startup, right? So do you think, first of all, is there any content creator over here? You can put your hands up if anyone wants to create pitches which can be sold to bigger studios. Is there anyone? So data center fraternity is something which looking at funding that, supporting you on the startups. So Tony, what is your thought on that?
Well, it's very simple. Any startup or even a established smaller studio, one of the things that becomes a mixed stumbling block for pitches that you want to create is the kind of resources that you can throw towards it. And unless you have deep pockets, technology sometimes does become a stumbling block. So if, for instance, you want to push the envelope in trying out new techniques or doing R&D on things that have not been done before, which require heavy computing. I mean, God help you if you are even hoping to imagine to make a pitch to present something like that, considering that you don't have those kind of resources. So obviously, having a remote access to a data rendering farm, which is not prohibitive in cost, because that's the key element, I think, for any developer. I can understand the bigger studios, the established players, they already have the funds to be able to throw into those kind of directions. But it's the indie player, the independent filmmaker, the independent content creator, the student, who will think 10 times before they would want to invest in spending money just to get a couple of renders out. So if there are possibilities for these kind of facilities to be made available at affordable price points, there's no reason why people will not adopt. And I think there'll be a lot more ease and a lot more flexibility. People will not be thinking about, will I be able to do it, before attempting to do something. There'll be a lot more freedom in terms of the thought process. So I do believe somewhere down the line there is a little bit of a hiccup because of the lack of these kind of resources.
Right. So we are...
Tarun,
yeah.
I think one more point which came up, when I was using my right brain today, talking to the people around, is the user experience, right? People who do use some cloud render services abroad, which is not in India, this is the first time, they have a lot of paperwork and stuff like that. User experience is also there, like it's a quick thing. You just pay a few dollars, check it out, and just in and out. So that's the kind of services people are looking at.
Yeah, definitely, because the more barriers you have to entry, I mean, I'd much rather spend my time ideating than, on paperwork. And that too for what? To get a couple of renders out much faster. So for me, if it's something that's simpler, something that's affordable, I don't have to think about it anymore. It becomes like almost muscle memory. Happy to use these kind of services, But till such time that we reach that position, I'd probably be relying on my internal resources because it's not worth the bother, very frankly.
So absolutely, user experience is something which is one of the pillars of. So it needs to be as simple, but for that we need to do a lot of back-end development. Which is why we have taken last 2 years time to get that product on the.
So I would like to share a similar experience. See, when cloud rendering comes in place, automatically the experience eases out for various reasons. Like he said, that you don't have to emphasize infrastructurally in-house, burning the capital and then revolving your head around how to map the technology with the softwares and then the renders and then all the technical glitches that it comes across. We were doing one of the project which requires a very heavy FX simulation. And we were trying a lot in-house to set up the pool. But eventually we had to go to cloud rendering services because it was hours and hours of renders. Wasting in-house was completely, like we end up saving more man days than doing this CapEx and all mapping infrastructure game. So definitely this eases out. I mean the user experience is absolutely fantastic. That's what I would say.
Yeah. Coming to Mehul, sovereign data centers have never got into this business of render farms, which we are doing first time, right? For the creative, the limitation is not anymore because we are offering scale, right, on render farm. But the smaller studios or smaller boutique studios have this myth that going to a render farm is a very costly affair, right? Do you think that's true?
So I will talk from a point of view of a small studio or a startup studio, like bootstrap studio. And I will look at it from the perspective of, I worked with big companies earlier. So when we were working with Crest or RNH, we never thought about after lighting what happens. We used to press render and something used to happen. Shajy used to take care of the renders out there at that point of time. Okay. But then when you start on your own, you realize that even if I'm trying to do a 30-seconder, so initially we started doing a 30-seconder film with, a freelance setup. Like, we used to go to the client's office and do the work. So we have 5 machines, we have 5 artists working on it. And then you have to do a 30-seconder and obviously you have to do it overnight. You don't have time. When you have to do that 1,250 frames overnight, it's impossible to do it while working on the shots. And that's when we realized that even as a small studio, in fact, more as a small setup or a freelance setup, our render farm was a very big support for us. And that's worked very well for us. Our company is around 8 years old. We've done a lot of TV shows, a lot of commercials. We don't render a single frame in-house. Right, we don't render a single frame in-house. 2, 3 things. One is that we feel that setting up a render farm is a parallel business. It's not animation business. What I need is I need to set up machines, and that's a capital cost to it. But that's only the direct cost that you're looking at. I also need to get in the right software for it. I need to get the right queuing system or you might have deadline for 10 machines, but you might not have it for 50 machines. Then after that, you also have a 24/7 IT support required for it, which you don't consider while setting up the machine. You think everything is autopilot. If a machine is running in the office in the night, I can't sleep at home. I need to be there or I need someone to be there to monitor it. You will need 24/7. And these things, we ignore it initially. We think we are too smart. I can get 10 machines and I can become, super smart, or I can utilize this well. In the pretext of optimizing, we've done our math. We could be wrong. Again, this is my perspective and our perspective. We could be 100% wrong. But in the pretext of saving that, render cost, I end up doing a lot of capital cost, lot of running cost, electricity, cooling, and we also ignore something known as networking. If you put up 50 machines and you have 10 working machines or something like that, and you say submit render on 50 machines, which is taking a data of 20 gigs on each of the frame, you're going to do 20 into 50. That much I/O is required. That much network speed is required. Trust me, when we are manually made, इधर से जुगाड़ कर Lamington Road से machine लाए हम लोग, तो वो नहीं चलने वाला है. Okay, and it is going to give you another problem that you are not able to work locally. You are not able to render out anything. And we've gone through those challenges. And I'm saying from that perspective, we do all our work. We render it out on render farms. We discourage even the texturing team to do their turntables locally. Because if it's taking like 30 minutes a frame and they have to render out 120 frames, the machine is just sitting, rotating, one frame. And I'm keeping my ACs and everything on for the whole night. So personally, we felt, if I look at it as a bargain, I would go to the render farm. The second thing which people still miss out on, कि मेरे पास project है, project अच्छा जा रहा है, मेरे को 8 महीना बहुत ही I'm 24/7 use हो गया. I feel I'm done a very smart investment. Okay, next 4 months I don't have any lighting rendering work. Then my capital is sitting idle. Okay, those 50 machines, those servers, ACs, everything is sitting idle. Now either I will misuse it and I will say, "Arey, ye render kar do, chalne do." I'll become casual about it, or I'll start thinking what to do now. And personally, we are very clear about it. हम लोग को creative space में रहना है, हम लोग को technical space में रहना है, हम लोग को IT space में नहीं जाना. We feel this is not our business model. The day maybe we go up to 200 machines or 200 work for 200 machines required 24/7 for 2 years, maybe we'll consider something as a backward integration.
It's really, I'm glad you said that. Even for asset management, you encourage people to go to the render farm, so it's great. And all these ingredients which you have mentioned is a part of the DNA of a data center, which is a no-brainer in terms of maintenance, cooling, humidity, rodent protection. So, so these are the things, and that's the natural progression. So coming to this, leading up to Shajy, compute in all of this is a common element, right? And whether there are different flavors of compute, which we're getting the latest compute, the latest GPUs, what we're getting, right? How do you think the fundamental similarities are there between compute processes and structured, and how do you think the future roadmap is for all of this?
First of all, congratulations to Utah for the successful launch. It's a long waited for India.
Thank you.
Today I've seen Mehul completely transformed from a creative geek to a creative technology geek. So he actually spoke about everything which is related to rendering, right? From my point of view, since I am in the technology space, I have some visibility both from a business side, creative side, as well as from your side, right? So my view is there are a lot of similarities between the computing. If you talk about a traditional rendering, if you talk about a real time, you talk about transcoding, or you talk about AI workload, there are a lot of similarities which is there, right? But it's a different how the algebras are worked out. So it could be a geometry calculation on one side, it could be a matrix algorithm on the other, or it could be a block DCD for you on a transcoding front, right? So that's all the same. But tomorrow if you say that, okay, I can give you a GPU at the rate of a CPU, I'm just saying. So if I say that, it's not that easy, it's not a switch for us. So there's a lot of work we have to done from a pipeline point of view when actually moving from, say, a USD pipeline to a real-time pipeline. So a lot of things are there, right? So that is our problem, right? So my suggestion for Utah would be, if I can, that you can actually leverage the similarities. There are a lot of similarities in all the 4 sections I talk about. There are a lot of similarities, right? The computing is the same. So it's the same high core processor which is required. The GPU also worked on some of the algorithm. The storage requirement is probably the similar. You need a high throughput storage. The latency required to be low on the latency front. Security parameters are similar, right? So these things are very common. So you probably have an advantage that you have a HPC infrastructure available, and that can be leveraged by everybody, right? So if you could offload any studios, irrespective of it's a small studio or a larger studio, if you could provide the solution, okay, forget about our rendering, forget about what you want to run it on an AI workload, we can build up for that. So what is required? So you need an infrastructure first to start with, and then obviously you have to build the orchestration level around it. There has to be a proper containerization. There has to be a proper provisioning mechanism. There has to be proper monitoring and observability and all these things together, right? If that is something, that ecosystem is something which you build it for any of the studio, then it also need not be even studio. You can also use it for a different layer. So that is what we are seeing from a studio level. The game doesn't start and ends with rendering. The game is changing a lot. So there are a lot of tasks in the creative workflow which will use the AI workloads, right? It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time each studio decides what needs to be done on-prem, what needs to be on the cloud, right? So if you get up with an ecosystem where you're providing all the solutions and giving it as a guarantee that, okay, it's a complete secured, right? So don't worry that it's secured because it's on-prem. We can create a similar world for you. Then I think all of us can join hands to make your ecosystem successful. So that's the requirement from our side. And I think we'll be ready to partner with each of you. Yeah.
Absolutely. Shajy, in fact, for our phase 2, phase 3, what we are planning is to have an open render farm concept, where the DNA of the data center and the unutilized compute of the data center is plugged into our farm So the scalability is never an issue at all, right? And hence the orchestration layers. So Anindya, you want to just take it over from there? Yeah.
Yeah, so what I did in the morning, as I said, like I was going around, I was thinking, what are the questions that can I ask the stalwarts, 30, 40 years, not 40, sorry, will be too old, 30 years experience and stuff like that. So what I did was, I was looking around for people who couldn't give real questions to ask these people. I don't know whether there'll be enough time for Q&A. So that's why I'm carrying this paper. I noted them. So I think this is a good question to ask Rajeev. Yeah, first. So what people are asking is, VFX was in the evolving phase, and now you hear about AI really coming in and helping the whole cinematic experience. So how do you see this? Like, is it a challenge to adopt the everyday changing technology and yet stay on top of the game?
So definitely it's not a challenge for sure, because technology has always evolved. And the more you get adaptive to that, the more easy it becomes for the workflow. So right now people have a perception that AI is disrupting the market, but like Naveen also said, that AI is a tool to enhance every creative journey that you begin, whether it's a film, whether it's an animation project, whether it is a docudrama, whatever you want to make. AI is one of the tools. You still need VFX, you still need animation to finish for everything that you want to see in terms of a cinematic experience. So, I mean, we are the part of an evolution industry. Every time you get into one thing, there's another technology that you have to upgrade yourself. So, I think it's a very good period for everybody, where you have Unreal, you have AI, now cloud rendering systems, optimizing your workflow, easy on the softwares, becoming easy on the tools. I think it's a very good age right now, very good time right now.
Yeah. So see, the thing is, from the content side, and I come from the content side, India produces about 170,000 hours of content every year, right? This includes about 150,000 hours of television content, includes 10,000 hours of film content, 10,000 hours of OTT content. So there's 170,000 hours of content. And I think there is another 170,000 of user-generated content that's being created for user-generated platforms like TikTok and YouTube. Now, that's 3.5 lakh hours of content today. I believe in the next 3 years, this will be 7 to 10 lakh hours of content being created in India. Now, the question is, if content creators also were to focus on technology and also were to look at the solution of how this content is being served, and do we have capacity and bandwidth, etc., then I think our storytelling will suffer. So the only way is to now look at a model where you say, okay, can I partner with, let's say, somebody like a Renderfarm, and then get the technology sorted. For example, let's go back to the basic of digital. What does digital actually mean? For me, digital means 4 things. First, digital is about global. Anything that you do in global anything that you do in digital is global in scale. You could have a customer from Brazil, you could have a customer from Malaysia, you could have a customer from the back and beyond in Fiji, right? Digital has no boundaries. The second thing about digital is scale. You can grow so fast that you not even imagine where your customers are coming from, right? Rapid growth. Third is essentially something, which we see in Indian screens as lacking, which is adaptive bitrate. Now, adaptive bitrate is such a big problem. All countries are digital, but their wavelengths are not digital at the same pace, right? So somewhere you have great bandwidth, somewhere you have very low bandwidth, somewhere you have excessive bandwidth, and so therefore you get buffering. Some of the Indian OTT platforms also give buffering. So adaptive bitrate is a very, very critical.
So that's the transcoding bit.
Transcoding, the transcoding
actually, Naveen,
bit.
yeah. So actually,
right.
My next question, which came up from the people
So
around.
there's one thing that I want to add on the cinematic experience of this.
Right.
Lot of this time right now you're seeing when there is a film which is releasing on theater, it also involves a blend of technology which is like AI sequences in between.
Correct.
So recent example is, if you've looked at the Kajol's film Ma, which was released, Ajay Devgan production, it was having a small AI sequence blended with the visual effects, blended with the live action. So that's the power of technology, that if you start adapting, it will enhance the visuals. Second recent example is Special Ops Season 2. Again, there was a small sequence completely done in AI, blended with live action. And a lot that we are doing right now is the title sequences, the logo designs, the narratives through AI, which are blending through live action. So that's where it is coming on.
Yeah, actually, if you see the platforms, I mean, we've just launched the MediaTek services today, right? For you and me, for all of us as a service. AI is infused even in the platforms, like the media asset management. AI is infused. How AI is helping is in the metadata. Compliance, for example, compliance, smoking scenes. You have to tag the smoking scenes as no smoking or something like that, injurious.
So, I mean,
so
to
it's
give you
very
an
quickly.
Yeah.
You know, it does, you just do that metadata search and it gives you all the clips where smoking scenes are there. So you don't have to sit 3 hours, tag, search manually and do that. So these are all AI based.
Right. Even AI in communication in LinkedIn and email had existed for a long time, right? Basic spelling correction. But what you're saying today, if you go to, let's say, some platforms, I am sitting in Bombay, I'm watching an English film. I get served an ad in Marathi only because I'm in Maharashtra. If I watch the same English film in Calcutta, I get the ad served in Bengali, which is funny. Right?
So that's AI infused in the OVP or OTT
That's
platform,
right, absolutely
So
right.
even recommendation engine.
Right. So
recommendation engines are all AI.
When we are scratching the surface as far as that is concerned.
Exactly.
Because right now, for the hours of content that is coming, let's say if you have 7 lakh hours of content, if you don't have discoverability, if you can't discover, if you don't tag metadata,
exactly,
you're not going to, you're going to be in an ocean, you don't know where you are, right?
So actually this was my second question to Naveen yourself. You already have answered, I think, most of it. The question from the people here in the morning which came up was, you have like growth in volume and diversity in content. With AI coming in, with streaming media coming in, stuff like that. A lot of digital, what you just said. So how would organizations, who own this content, reimagine their media asset management? Yeah, and effectively to balance the scalability. And you partly answered it all.
And I think the winners and losers in the future will be people who understand media asset management correctly, right? I think Netflix is a gold standard. They really understand all their assets. They understand what is to be served where. They're really, I mean, they've really cracked even smaller things that a lot of other OTT even, don't think about. And I think the game in the future with excessive content, I mean, there is going to be infinite content in the future. How do you discover it? How do you tag it? How do you address it to the right audience? How do you define your audience? Are going to be huge challenges in the future, for sure.
So I think media asset management as a service, what we've just launched, part of Sudarshan, I think that will help because that sits out of cloud. You don't own the application. You don't have to pay for the IT infrastructure as well as the application. You just
in fact,
have the content and in and out.
One of the great things, our Sudarshan initiative.
1.5 minutes, 2 minutes.
One of the great things, this initiative, I always used to think, why don't we look at, we always look at AWS, Google Cloud, right? Why don't we have an Indian-grown, indigenous service that actually does the same as AWS and Google Cloud? And that is why I was happy.
That's why if you see, even the names of our services are Indian, right?
Right.
Yota and then Sudarshan, Urja, Shakti Cloud is there, which is GPU. Then some other services.
I just hope you grow very fast and you can replace everybody.
Absolutely. Thanks.
And I love the OPEX model rather than the CAPEX model, right? So
Thanks. Yeah, that's the whole idea, right? We all are very, we think of money first. How to make money and save money both. So quickly on the next question, just we can touch because this question also came up, the third question, and the last one from me or from the people, is, the environment is dominated by large social media. I'll just mention them quickly, YouTube, TikTok and stuff like that. How can smaller or niche video platforms, regional platforms, and we've seen they're growing, but how can they differentiate themselves and carve out sustainable growth and monetize equally?
So, I think India is a huge market of niches. India is not one uniform market. It's a very big market of niches. It's like Europe, right? So, a lot of platforms, when they start in regional languages, from a content point of view, they start making content which is like Hindi or like Hollywood. That's not the way it is done. You should go deeper into your
I think people like you are also focusing on region, right?
region and
Regional
focus on region, yeah.
dialects, movies, and
Correct.
stuff like that.
Correct.
I know for a thing, given Mizoram has launched something, an OTT.
Mizoram is such a great place for English songs,
Yes.
right? They have a homegrown industry of rock music, right? And if Mizoram rock music can grow, which is not growing right now,
Right.
I think we would have really achieved something dramatic. Yeah.
Okay, there's red splashing on my face.
That's okay, that's okay. I wanted to ask Tony, because Tony has made a feature film, animation feature film, which is yet to release, and I hope and pray it does better than Narasimha, for sure. So what, the platform which Anandya, Sudarshan, which is launched, do you think you'll use a platform like this and monetize it on that platform itself?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, there are existing platforms. One advantage that you have is already that you're going to, if again, the entry level is something that is simpler, if it does not have the kind of prerequisites that today probably I have to face before I start monetizing, and if I don't have this erratic, arbitrary behavior of suddenly, the terms and conditions and the rules of the game and the goalpost shifting, for it, and this is a commonality across any business. You want certainty in terms of the environment. You don't want suddenly, the rules to change. You don't want the compliances to change, because that then does not allow you to think long term. And part of the reason why we are seeing this jugaad concept happening is because people just want to be sure that the here and now is taken care of, and we are not thinking, 10 years from now. So if you can bring a stable ecosystem in, which allows content creators to be able to monetize their content. How does it matter if I've got one video, I've got 5 videos or 6 videos? Why do I have to be forced into having minimum number of videos?
Quality of content matters.
Yeah, it's the quality of the content. If I can get people to come and look at my single video and I can get 1 million people watching it, why will you not allow me to monetize that? Because I don't have X number of videos uploaded in a certain period of time. So till we have those kind of systems coming in, I guess we are stuck with what we have, and everybody has to, kind of make the most of it. But yeah, if you can bring a system in which is content friendly, which is creator friendly, I always believe you don't have to, make sure that somebody loses and therefore you win. You can always create situations where everybody wins. So if that is the mindset that you can come with, I think everybody will make money. Ultimately, nobody is sitting here to do charity. धर्मशाला कोई खोल के बैठा नहीं है. तो ठीक है, आप भी पैसा बनाओ, हम भी पैसा बनाए, but don't do it at the expense of strangling me and preventing me from, really doing what I want to do.
Yeah. So I'll just add one more thing. When you said, आप भी पैसा बनाओ, मैं भी पैसा बनाओ, and you should know actually as a content owner, कौन कितना पैसा बना रहा है at least. Social media, YouTube, you don't know how much they are making, how much, you know how much they are giving you. You are at their mercy, right? People are happy, मेरे को 1 million subscribers है, I'm making enough money. No, you can make much more than what you are getting from social media. So that's
I won't want to diss YouTube right now because probably I'm going to start using them.
Please keep using YouTube.
I mean, the fact is that is probably that and a couple of other channels are the only channels we have right now. And we are not in a position as a studio as of now to be monetizing stuff. We hope to be there. But in the general sense, if you do have tech and if you do have backend and if you do have the wherewithal available for content creators to get onto the monetization bandwagon quickly. You see, when you make a movie, the theater owner doesn't tell you that आप पहले 10 मूवी बनाओ, उसके बाद 11वीं मूवी में आपको पिक्चर मिलेगा, में पैसा मिलेगा, right? You make a movie, the first movie, if you're able to release it, you start getting money for it. So I personally do not like these kind of barriers to be put in before I am eligible to monetize my content.
Sure, I'll just summarize the session. Sorry, I'm out of time, but I was going to ask this question to all panelists. But what are the key pillars of a cloud render farm? Basically, it is what the ethos of our products are: cost versus compute value, ongoing support to the community, right? Seamless experience, the UI UX, and enterprise IOPS tools so that your uploads, downloads are quicker, you get it quicker in and out, software and plugin compatibility and the back-end skill set to have the troubleshooting and all the exact TDs and render anglers the way you need to have for your troubleshooting. So these are the pillars on which we have built our farm. So that with that, I'll summarize my session. Sorry for being out of time.
It's okay. Thank you so much for taking such a lovely session. I think red is common on the monitor, red is here on the stage, and red is in our logo as well. So there's a huge round of applause for all of you for taking such a thoughtful discussion ahead, and we wanted all these points to get highlighted, and this was the need of the hour. Thank you so much.